The Indian Child Welfare Act was passed in 1978 in response to Indian families being broken up. The idea was that if you send children to boarding schools and you remove them from their family, remove them from their culture, they could be assimilated.
We bring them in, clean them up, and start them on their way to civilization.
At the point that they were graduating from the schools, oftentimes they had lost all connection. It wasn't until many years later that they were deemed a complete failure. So the Indian Child Welfare Act recognized that in order for tribes to continue to exist, in order for Indian families continue to be strong, that there had to be a connection, and that Indian tribes were best situated to know what was in the best interest of Indian children. Even though it was passed in 1978, it is a law that for many years was not enforced or not recognized as having value in a state court system. Icwa recognized that state players, courts, social workers were often the ones that were causing damage because they didn't understand the structure of the family, that they did not understand tribal values and customs.
The Icwa Law Center has been around for 20 years now to give people in Minnesota access to attorneys who specialize in the Indian Child Welfare Act.
The Law Center recognized the need to actually be out in the community and actually establish relationships and establish bridges. And now we had to up our game in the county attorney's office because we were dealing with attorneys who had a relationship with their client. They had been out to their client's home. They knew who their client's children were. They actually were able to gather information from them so that they understood where they came from and what their history was, and they knew the law.
We know our clients, we know the services in the area, we have relationships with tribes, so we work with them on cases as well to make sure that clients are getting culturally appropriate services that will meet the needs of them and their family.
I've been working with the Icwa Law Center, or they've been working with me for quite a while. It's been quite a journey. My attorney, who is the director here, she's been quite a blessing. I see her motherly instinct, her strong character. She's almost like a mentor, and she's done an awesome job at representing me. She's been able to empower me and find my strength at times when I've been really down and things seem like all odds were against me. She's a real stand-up woman.
Child custody proceedings brings together every aspect of someone's life. So if they're struggling with chemical use, if they're struggling with mental health issues, if they are experiencing trauma, either through violence or grief or loss, if they don't have housing, if they're struggling with school, all aspects of those become kind of front and center in regards to how the court and everyone in the system is perceiving their ability to care for their children.
Going to court, I think for lots of people can be extremely intimidating, but obviously when you're a client and people have taken your children away, it's extremely difficult and really emotional.
It's hectic, it's emotional. You see a lot of people that you don't recognize, and then you're supposed to go in a room and you're supposed to tell these attorneys your deepest, darkest secrets as it relates to your problems that you're having in your family.
Having an open child welfare case, people tend to just look down on you, and obviously you made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Parent mentor is something relatively new to the Law Center. We've had her for just over a year. She is someone that has been through the child protection system herself, and so she, I think, uniquely understands what it's like to be a parent in this system.
I help other parents who have open child welfare cases work through their case plans. Sometimes it's nice to have someone like me there be like, hey, I've been there and you can totally do it.
She's been able to share with me her own experiences and what that entailed for her working through her own CPS case. One of the things that I love most about her is her ability to empathize with me.
And I think it's really all about understanding someone's story, because until we understand the story, it's almost impossible to represent someone in court. We need to understand that story, understand what is keeping a family together, what their strengths are.
They definitely go above and beyond what a normal attorney would do.
If they need to call the UA line every day to see if they need to go do a UA, that they have a phone that works. And if they don't, then we try to make sure the county will provide them with one. If somebody has a bus card waiting down at the county, but they don't have a bus card currently and they can't get there, sometimes we may pick them up and bring them down there so they can get their bus card. We pick clients up a lot for court, just to make sure that people are in time. So it just kind of gives you a little more regular human interaction than just like, oh, I'm meeting with my lawyer.
Jacqueline, we've been working together since the very first time I got put on child protection, and she was the type of person I could tell anything to, and so I always kept it real with Jacqueline, and she's always tried to keep it as real as possible with me, If I had a relapse, I told Jacqueline, like, hey man, you know what, I messed up, and she would let me know, this is what you gotta do. She knew where I was coming from, she knew all the things that were going on in my life. The last time I went to court, they said this was gonna be it, that they were gonna, place them up, for adoption. And I made a commitment to myself to do right. I'm going on 60 months sober on the 30th, and they just gave me back my children probably like about maybe a month and a half ago. That's amazing, for a person not to give up on me, I'm saying she never did. She had belief and faith in me. That feels really good inside,
Shannon, she understands, my family. She always makes sure that she sees where I'm coming from. I wouldn't even have the words to explain what Shannon and Shauna have come to mean to me.
The ultimate goal is to make sure that people get their children back. There are a lot of other positive endings, like maybe we got the child with an aunt or uncle, or a brother, an older brother or sister, something like that. The child is in a safe and healthy place, surrounded by family. Hopefully down the road, the parent will have a good role in that child's life.
What is best for a child? Where should a child be placed? What kind of services may be helpful to the family? What kind of services may not be helpful to the family?
Things like this can happen so quickly to somebody, and I didn't really know who to turn to. Jacqueline was somebody that made me feel like I wasn't alone. She saw the good, she knew what I could become, and I don't know how things would turn out if I didn't have her to, ask my questions to, or confide in. They've just really helped me. I don't even know how I can thank her for everything that she's done.
If it weren't for this office, I don't know how things might have played out.